Hi, this is Peter from Anatomy Zone, and in this video we'll be taking a look at the anatomy of the axillary nerve. This video is a collaboration between Anatomy Zone and teachmeanatomy.info. Check out the links in the video description below for more relevant articles that can be found on the Teach Me Anatomy website. We're looking here at a schematic of the brachial plexus. We can see on the right hand side roots C5 to T1 which form the brachial plexus, and we can see the trunks, the divisions and the cords. For more information on the brachial plexus, check out my other tutorials which cover this subject more comprehensively. Looking at the posterior cord, there are two large terminal branches which come off from this cord. The radial nerve here and the axillary nerve, which is the subject of this tutorial. The axillary nerve is derived from nerve fibers originating from C5 and C6 spinal nerve roots. This nerve has both motor and sensory function. In terms of the motor function, the axillary nerve innervates the teres minor muscle and the deltoid muscle. In terms of the sensory function of the axillary nerve, it gives rise to the superior lateral cutaneous nerve of the arm, which innervates the skin over the lower deltoid region. In this diagram, you can see this area shaded in blue. Now, coming back to the 3D model, let's take a look at the anatomical course of the axillary nerve. What we're looking at here is an anterior view, and we've got the axillary artery placed into the model, and we can see the medial and lateral cords of the brachial plexus converging to form the median nerve down here, and just lateral to that, arising from the lateral cord, is the musculocutaneous nerve. Now what I've done here is rotated medially and zoomed in. So just to orientate you, we've got the axillary artery here. Anteriorly here is the medial cord, and it converges down to form the median nerve with the lateral cord, which you can't see from this medial view. And this blue structure here behind the axillary artery is the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. And coming off it, you can see the light blue nerve here, which is the radial nerve, and in green you can see the axillary nerve. So this arises as a terminal branch of the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. You can see this muscle here, which lies on the anterior surface of the scapula. This is the subscapularis muscle, and you can see how the axillary nerve lies between the axillary artery and the subscapularis muscle. Now, following the course of the axillary nerve, you can see how it descends and then it turns to exit the axilla at the inferior border of the subscapularis muscle. It exits the axilla via something known as the quadrangular space. I've just removed some structures so we can look at the axillary nerve entering this quadrangular space. Looking at the boundaries, we can see laterally here we've got the surgical neck of the humerus. Superiorly, we've got the subscapularis muscle, the inferior border. Medially, we've got the long head of the triceps brachii muscle. And inferiorly, we've got the superior border of the teres major muscle. I've rotated the model around so we're looking at a view of the posterior scapular region, and you can see the axillary nerve emerging from this quadrangular space. And just taking a look again at those boundaries, superiorly this time we can see the inferior margin of the teres minor muscle. Laterally we've got the surgical neck of the humerus. Inferiorly we've got the superior margin of the teres major muscle, and medially we've got the the lateral border of the long head of the triceps brachii muscle. The other important structure which passes with the axillary nerve through the quadrangular space is the posterior circumflex humeral artery, which arises from the axillary artery. Looking at this view here of the posterior scapular region, you can see that after the axillary nerve has passed through the quadrangular space, it divides into these two branches. and I've highlighted one of these branches in green and the other has remained in yellow. The green branch here represents the anterior terminal branch of the axillary nerve, whilst the yellow branches here represent the posterior terminal branch. The posterior terminal branch provides motor innervation to this muscle here, the teres minor. You can see these branches coming off here to provide that innervation. And you can see this other branch of the posterior terminal branch continuing as this nerve which supplies the skin overlying the inferior deltoid muscle. I've just made the deltoid muscle visible so you can see how this branch of the posterior terminal branch of the axillary nerve innervates the skin overlying the inferior part of the deltoid. This continuation of the posterior terminal branch is known as the superior lateral cutaneous nerve of the arm. Switching back to this image I showed you at the start of this tutorial, you can see diagrammatically this area of skin demonstrated by this blue shading. Coming back to the 3D model here, the motor innervation to the deltoid muscle is actually supplied by the anterior terminal branch. I've once again made the deltoid muscle translucent and you can see the anterior terminal branch of the axillary nerve in green, and this is the source of innervation to the deltoid muscle. So that's the axillary nerve. In summary, it arises from fibres from the spinal roots of C5 and C6. It has both motor and sensory function. The motor function provides innervation to the teres minor muscle via the posterior terminal branch and also to the deltoid muscle via the anterior terminal branch. In terms of the sensory innervation, the axillary nerve gives rise to the superior lateral cutaneous nerve, which innervates the skin overlying the inferior deltoid muscle. For more notes and articles on anatomy, check out teachmeanatomy.info, and for more videos on anatomy, check out anatomyzone.com. Thank you for watching.